Welcome back to Chasing Cupid and Poetry live in effect. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, and we're about to get into a topic that many people don't like. They don't even want to talk about it. But first, let me introduce you to my all-star cast. Rude Boy, what's up?
That's me.
Lover Boy Gary Mitchell.
Yep, the one and only.
Miss Maru.
Hey, what's really good out there?
And you already know me, Cupid. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic tonight is white, black, or other. Man, this is a topic that's really going to hit. Once again, you're tuning in to www.chasingcupidandpoetry.com. Stay tuned. We got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. Let's get into this. When you think about white, black, and other, is there... I'm going to go around the table first and foremost. Is there a superiority complex in your mindset? If you can actually put them in a pyramid of which one is superior in America today, let's put it in a complex, in a list from greatest to least in society's thoughts. What would you say it is?
Yeah, you know what? There definitely is. When you think white, black, or other, first thing I think about is when I go and apply. Well, when I used to go apply for jobs.
Wait, I want you to give me a
okay.
Which one?
Like I got to really itemize
on top. Yeah.
White, Hispanic, and everyone else kind of falls under those two.
Okay. Rude Boy?
I'm going to say, this is a hard question, listeners. Wow. I'm still debating about it in my head, but I want to say it's others.
What would you say is the complex, as in what's on top, middle,
That's what I'm saying.
down?
I'm the rude boy, man. It's others, blacks tied with whites.
Which one? Others is black.
Others black, and the blacks are tied with whites.
Really? In society?
That's how I see it.
All right, cool. Miss Maru?
I would definitely say whites.
Mm-hmm.
And in some instances, I would say blacks and others.
All right. I'm going to keep that thought right there, and we're going to get back to it. So tell me what you're saying. Lover Boy, Gary Mitchell.
Yeah, when you apply for a job application, when you apply for a job, you fill out the job application, or you apply for college and you fill out those applications for scholarships and such. They always ask you your nationality, and they'll say, or not national, yeah, and then they'll say, okay, are you black, African American, Native American, Pacific, Indian, all these different things or whatever.
Caucasian.
Yeah, and what it does is it already makes you think, like, subconsciously, if I fill out this bubble, let's say you're not white, because whites are the majority of Caucasians make up the majority of the United States. So if you fill out that bubble that's anything but that, you're already thinking, okay, where do I rank amongst the rest?
Yeah.
Where am I going to get preference?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, where society is today, obviously no one is better than anyone else, but society states that where society is, Caucasians generally hold the majority of they hold the majority at the income level. And when you have income, you have power, you have influence.
Yeah.
After that, Hispanics are categorized into different groups, but when they list an application, they don't say Cuban, Honduran, Nicaraguan,
because that's ethnicity.
Yeah, exactly.
Or nationality, actually.
I have a question since you jumped in. If you go into that's ethnicity or that's nationality. In that sense, why would you think they put that non-Latin, just like you said, non-Latin or Hispanic? Mm-hmm. Why do they not put non-Haitian or Haitian or non or anything such?
Yeah.
Miss Maru.
Not sure.
Let me jump in.
I'll ask you. Wait,
ask me again, please.
I'll ask you another question. All right, first I'm gonna give you that question, and I want you to think about it for later if you're not ready to answer it. Basically, if your bases were saying they say non-Latin and Latin,
right?
You're saying because it's the ethnicity or nationality, right?
Right, because he said, because they don't put Cuban or because at the end of the day, you're Hispanic. You're Hispanic.
Have you ever thought of why don't they put non-Haitian or Haitian?
If they don't put non-Haitian or Haitian,
why don't they? Have you ever thought of that?
I have.
No, I never thought about it.
And I'm gonna let Rude Boy go next, but I because your first statement was saying that in some cases, other and what were switched, other and blacks. Am I correct?
Yeah.
In what cases are those? Would you say?
Well, right now, it depends, because if you're talking about the whole job application
I'm
thing,
just
then
talking
that's
about
different.
society.
But yeah, I think that it depends, because Hispanics, let's be honest, like we can be categorized as Black Hispanic. You can be categorized as what we call in Spanish, which is a very derogatory form of depicting them, would be indios.
Okay.
Which you would probably think of, like, the Mexican workers, or like, mostly Central Americans and things like places like that. And then you have the white Hispanics.
Okay, but
who can pass for a white person. The difference is that they can speak Spanish.
Okay, but what you said once again, that the basically the scales can be switched between black and others, meaning Hispanics. Am I correct?
Not just Hispanics,
okay.
but I'm saying Hispanic because I'm Hispanic.
So when is it switched? Since you're saying Hispanics, when does it switch on the scale where it becomes white, black, and then Hispanic, or white, Hispanic, then black? In your mindset.
Well, I think that sometimes black and other can be leveled, and then there maybe at another instance it could be white, other, and then black.
Okay, so do you believe black is ever on top of other? I'm just curious.
Sometimes, actually, yes, I do.
In what cases?
Yeah, in what cases? I would probably say like the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, or like not even the illegal,
but
but
illegal immigrants.
Hispanics.
No, oh, so you're saying the Black Hispanics?
Not even like the Mexicans or specifically Mexican or Central Americans, immigrants who, they look a lot different than South Americans for the most part, or other Hispanics who are light skinned, with like light brown or blondish hair, and there's a big distinction. I've seen the way that certain people have looked at my father. My father is a lot darker than I am, and he can look either, if you look at him, you'd probably think that he works, like in the farm or something.
Yeah, but I'm asking how are black people above? That's what I'm saying. How blacks are above and Hispanics are under? When is it? Like what cases? I think when it gets when to are that, they treated?
I think it comes in when the Hispanic population doesn't speak that English. And it doesn't speak English, and then they're still living here whether they're legal or not. And so the black person, even I've heard, like, oh, well, we're living in America, why do I have to press 1, if I want to speak Spanish or English, and da-da-da. And I understand that, but, in that kind of sense, it's almost like saying, like, those who only speak Spanish is like kind of diminishing, their value.
But see, I'm gonna take this case because you said, once again, I said the black and then Hispanic. You said that's in that case. In that case, actually, if they have the button where you can press Spanish, wouldn't it actually be Hispanics on top of that?
Well, but I understand that. What I'm saying is the way that even some black people, from my experience, from what I've heard, their expressions and their feelings about that sort of thing. I'm not talking about like.
I'm just saying society's thoughts. I'm not saying how black people feel.
Black people that I know, they're still in society. They still have thoughts.
I'm saying as in society's thought process. You said in some cases, blacks and Hispanics may switch, as in the importance in a case. In what case does blacks become on top of Hispanics? That's what I'm asking. Because you said
I think probably sometimes in the corporate world.
How?
I don't know how specifically, but I think that in the corporate world.
You said in the corporate world, so I'm asking for an example or some type of case you thought of process that made you think that. That makes you think that.
Probably. I do know certain people, even Hispanics, who are annoyed by other people who have an accent and cannot speak English, even if they can speak it well, but they have an accent, and who don't look, a certain way. Regardless, black Americans or whatever, like they can still look to a certain standard.
Once again, I'm still not understanding. I'm looking for an example where, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody else, I'm looking for a standard where you said blacks switch with Hispanics on a hierarchy in some cases. So I'm looking for that example. For example, you could say a black person would get choose for a job quicker than a Hispanic person, or anything as such. So I'm looking for that example per se.
I say,
if there is an example, is there an example for?
I can think of one right now.
Okay, so what made you say that skew where black and Hispanic can
Just
switch?
because of experience.
What experience?
I mean, I can't tell you like society in itself, but I can tell you by experience and even even like when I was in school, it was like predominantly blacks, and we got picked on for being Hispanic. So I can talk about that standpoint, but I cannot talk about specifically in society when it comes to whether it's like the professional career and things like that, because I haven't experienced that.
Okay. What were you saying, Rude Boy?
What I was going to get to the point of saying is that I think that when a time when African Americans, blacks do come above Hispanics in society's mind frame is that when it comes to more, when it comes to opportunity, let me say, because now you're American as an African American, a black person, you're American because they have a dialect, they come and they don't have papers. It's a certain situation. That's all the Caribbean. And and the point that I'm saying is that Hispanics, Haitians, Jamaicans, Puerto Rican, whoever you want to call it, Indian, Hindus, they all have a situation when they come over, sometimes they don't have paperwork. So when you don't have the paperwork and you have an African American, no matter what color they are, they do have an upper hand than what minority has.
How? See, the thing is, African Americans, just African American. Whether if you're Haitian and you don't have the paperwork, you still are on the same level. But you're saying if you're African American, you have your papers, you're saying you have a step up than Hispanics?
In some standpoints.
No, I'm just asking.
I'm telling you, in some standpoints.
How so?
Because when you're American and you have papers, some jobs are looking for people who can speak the native language. Now, when you come over here, some jobs look for people who can speak. I have experience where not only me not speaking Spanish, but me not speaking Creole. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it depends if I'm in Little Haiti. And for you people who are listening all over the world, Little Haiti is predominantly Haitians. And you have North Miami, which I live in, is predominantly Haitian. So when I want a job as a paralegal in North Miami, I can't get a job because I don't speak Creole.
Okay.
Or I go to La Havana, I can't speak Spanish. But do they call my language patois a language? No. Mm. And so that's where, as an opportunity with me, where I just got my papers some time back, I didn't have the opportunity, just like an American person, to get an opportunity to have a job at all. And that's where it comes to play, where American is a little bit higher than immigrant or whatever you want to call it.
I'm not. See, right now, I'm not talking about immigration. I'm not talking about papers.
I'm talking about culture. I'm talking about culture. Regardless, I'm talking if you're talking about when is a American or a black, when a black person has a little bit more of the upper hand than a minority, I guess, other. It floats in the same boat. Other person doesn't have it because you're not of the country.
Blacks aren't of the country, supposedly.
No, but blacks are of the country.
Supposedly.
But then if you think about that, then nobody is of this country but the Native Americans.
And very true.
And the thing about, supposedly. But the thing about it, the reason why blacks are a part of this country, but because society does not educate themselves to understand that they will never be a part of this country.
Okay, you had something?
I do. I want to say.
You sure?
In Hollywood.
Okay, in Hollywood. How so?
In Hollywood. Or in entertainment, and I'll tell you why right now. I have it, and I'll give you a perfect example. There is this guy named what's his name? Oh gosh, I can't believe I forgot. His last name is Luna, Diego Luna, and he is a director, and he's Mexican, and he excuse me. There's this movie that is actually playing on theaters right now, and it's called Cesar Chavez, and it's about a very important person in Mexico who did a lot for his country, for the agricultural world, and even including into this country. And he could not get a lot of funding from the American I guess, I don't want to say public, but like corporations or whoever it is that helps funds, films and things like that. He could not get the funding. It was really hard for him to get it. So it wasn't necessarily low budget, but it was very hard for him to pitch to the to the white I guess men, because they were asking, well, how can we make this movie more about an American person? And he says, and then he was really frustrated with the fact that in order for a Hispanic to have a limelight in this country, it has to be entertainment, whether it's you're a musician or you're an actress or something like that. But when it comes to being somebody important that you actually made a social change, then it's almost like you don't know about them. You don't hear about them anywhere. But then you have, blacks. You have Oprah, and you have Malcolm X, and you have Martin Luther King, and you have Rosa Parks.
Whoa, wait a second. Are you really going to compare these history buffs, Martin Luther King?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This guy, Cesar Chavez, he was a history buff as well. No, but what's the problem? But you see, this is the problem right now that I'm talking about. We don't know about this because those things in Hispanic history are not talked about in this country.
Tell me, what did he fight for?
And it is because,
tell me.
And it is, he revolutionized the agricultural arena, if I can say that.
Go ahead.
And so what I'm saying,
arena of what?
Agricultural, meaning the way that it was.
Educate someone. I want her to educate everybody here and on the thing, because she really just compared.
Listen, no, I will go ahead and kind of piggyback, because I'm very familiar with him as well as many other activists. I'm a big history buff. And Cesar Chavez, he did kind of revolutionize the American farm market. Like pretty much the whole industry, where basically you had all these farmers who were being overworked and they weren't able to sell their crop. Like they had no rights as far as their crops. So what he did was, if I recall correctly, he actually went on a hunger strike, and he actually got like all the farmers in his area together. And they basically, fought for rights from the government to be able to farm and to actually, make income the way that they should. But to compare them, that's like, you can't really compare. You can't even compare Malcolm X to Martin Luther King. Exactly. They're different. But I will say that just kind of.
But that's really unfair, right there. That's like saying that's like no, that's very unfair because they did different things for different parts of the country, and to say, oh, how can you compare that person to Martin Luther King or to Malcolm X? Like, I think that is very unfair.
Let me ask you a question.
And minimizing
with the agricultural. I'm sorry. As uneducated as that may sound, what were the main thing they were giving up that he fought for? I'm curious.
What were they giving up? The farmers?
Yeah.
Wait, you mean
what was the main thing they were fighting for? What equality were they really fighting for? I'm curious.
Oh, I mean, well, basically, just like any other union, because he founded the National Farmers Association.
He was fighting for profits?
Farm workers. No, not just for profits, just for rights to be able to grow their crops, because the government over time has severely regulated
rights to grow your crop.
Yeah, because listen, the government always regulated the type of crops you can grow. The amount of the type of land and everything.
Was this based only on a national base and ethnicity based thing?
No, it was a national thing.
It was a national thing. It wasn't ethnicity based.
No, but in his case, he fought for it within his ethnicity, but that gave the groundwork on a national scale.
And what the biggest thing I'm stating is. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, as a person that's not even, I'm not going to act like I'm huge on, I'm going to be completely honest on this radio station. I'm not going to act like I'm huge on black history like that. I am, but I'm not the buffet of everything of black history. But to compare of saying, which was not ethnic based, but Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, which fought for oppression of a race, not of profit, of a race, oppression of spraying people, lynching people, shooting people because you're a race.
I understand that, but it doesn't
compare
mean
him.
But no. But see, Okay, the topic is not comparing.
No, I'm
the,
saying
the
you did
topic is-
compare.
No.
You
All
did
I
compare.
said, no, I didn't say, oh, this person is better than this one, or
She-
this one is
she-
above
she
the other.
just used an
What
example,
I said that there are many important people in the Latin American community that have done a great deal for whether it's national or for their community. And so what I'm saying is that a lot of the times, because of the history of slavery in this country, then, whether they feel forced or coerced to portray or to even allow for African Americans to have their shine, you know what I mean? Like because whether it's guilt or for reparations or whatever it is, but we don't have that. And so all I'm saying is that when you look at TV shows, at sitcoms, they're always going to have a black, even if it's just one black person, they're always going to have one black person, but they're not always going to have a Hispanic person or another other person. That's what I'm saying. So you were asking me in what sense does sometimes the black go above the other, and in that sense, when it comes to Hollywood and entertainment, I would probably say that.
I honestly, personally, I can't think of one show that didn't have a person that they tried to skew. I'm just being honest. They tried to skew either as black or a show that tried to skew as other. Even Captain Planet tried to have a black person and the Indian person or whatever it was in it.
Yeah, but the black person was always there.
Oh, Captain Planet didn't.
But at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, regardless of the fact, regardless of what race you was, and that's why I said with my point, I said others on top and then blacks and white equal out, because at the end of the day, no matter what race you was, if you were not more of a white person, a black person or Hispanic, whoever you had on the show or whoever you had being your spokesperson, they represent minorities. And if you think about it, back in the day, in slavery time, it wasn't about if you was black, white, or other. It was a minority, you was a slave, and if you was white, you was also a slave. But if you was if you was a richer Caucasian person, you were a slave master or you had rights to slaves.
Yeah, but today,
at the end of the day,
what's the hierarchy?
the hierarchy, I think is honestly, I think it would be. I did say at the beginning others, but I want to say whites. And one standpoint is because they had the first dibs, and when I say they, I don't want to generalize. I want to say they were in history was given the path, the right way to do whatever they want.
Okay, now what's next?
What's next? I'm going to give my others,
and then
and my others include my blacks.
How so?
Because at the end of the day, we're all minorities. Now, a native African American, a person who was born here, has a higher standpoint than I believe than an immigrant or anybody who wasn't born here.
Who has the best chances of success? I'm
Of
curious.
success?
Let's
It's a white person.
Okay,
It's
then-
Caucasians.
Then what?
Huh?
Then what?
Then
what's next?
what? I think it depends on where you at.
Good answer. That is correct.
It
actually.
depends where you at, because it's just like a Walmart. Wherever there's freaking over 300 Walmarts, and I'm minimizing. I'm not even giving them full credit. It's over 300 Walmarts in the world, and each Walmart caters to the community. They might not have like what we have in Miami, hot sausages down here, than what you would have in Tennessee.
They don't.
Okay, I know, because when I was in Tennessee, a Jamaican patty will be in more of the Caribbean neighborhood than what you would have in Arkansas. But at the end of the day, it's who you cater to. And if you go to the Hispanic culture, you will find a Hispanic attorney doing well. But you won't catch a Hispanic attorney doing well in, let's say, in Kansas. You get what I'm saying? Or you're not going to find a Haitian doing well in Tennessee, where it's not even heard of a Haitian. They don't know what a Haitian is.
All right, so I want to hear Loverboy's thoughts, because Loverboy was actually born and full bred. I mean, in a sense, it sounds bad, full bred.
Mr. Perfect, Mr. Perfect has all the rights.
As an African American young man, not Haitian, not Latin, not really other. Would you consider yourself African American?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in your thought process, black, white, other, what's your thought process of that scale in itself?
Well, first of all, I'm listening to this conversation, and everyone makes some very strong, passionate arguments, but I don't agree with Rude Boy or Maru. Reason is because you guys are speaking from your personal experiences, and I hear it. And you're not wrong. You're just looking at it from a smaller scale. We're talking about on a national level, the United States of America. Going back to what I said, you actually kind of reinforced my point. Maru made the point that where she said that Mexicans, Central Americans, are considered to be basically like kind of looked upon because like when you call certain things, it's kind of like it's offensive because they're in that classification. But going back to what I was saying before about job applications, they don't ask you if you're Mexican. They don't ask you if you're Cuban. They ask you
if you're Latin, Hispanic descent.
Yes. So that's one thing. Rude Boy made the point about when he wants to apply for a paralegal job, going into Little Haiti or North Miami, because of the language that they speak there, they want someone who speaks that language. So if Rude Boy, he speaks patois, but he doesn't speak Creole, he doesn't speak, French. So what use do they have for him? So in that sense, where he's from an island descent, but the society classifies him as black. All right, they don't ask you if you're Bahamian. They don't ask if you're Haitian. They don't care.
They don't care. Yeah.
It's black.
It's
black. It's Hispanic. Let's go to Caucasians. Caucasians don't ask you, they don't care if you're Caucasian. They say you're white. Why? You can be Italian. You can be Polish. You can be all these different things. All these Europeans, you're white. All right? So going back to that. Going back to that. Let's determine, like, when we talk about opportunities, we talk about education, we talk about jobs, we talk about opportunities, and we talk about who is on the hierarchy. It's all about who has influence, who has money, who has power, who's going to give you the opportunity, and who's going to give you the opportunity to profit from giving that opportunity. Going back to white people, okay, the native language in the United States of America is English, okay. If you don't speak English natively, then you're gonna have to learn it. All right. So if you're like going back to the immigration thing, if you're Hispanic and you're immigrating to the country, you're gonna have to learn English if you really want to go to the top of the ladder. If you're from the islands, you're gonna have to learn English. All right. Yep. Doesn't matter if you're one of the coastal cities like say Texas and you're on the border of Mexico and such, or if you're in Miami and you're from you have that melting pot of Cubans and such, New York and all that stuff. It doesn't matter because on a national level, English is where it's at. The next language afterward that's going to bring in some sort of income is Spanish.
Yep.
Now Cubans, Mexicans, they have different dialects. All Spanish is not the same, but there is very similar to each other. So if you're not speaking English, if you can speak Spanish, you can generate $1 off of that. Creole it comes from Haiti, and it's unfortunate to say that it's not a profitable language to have because you come from an impoverished country. Jamaica, all these different places, you bring it to the table, and it's not really worth anything in the United States of America. This is just the way that society has it. If you like going back to the whole entertainment thing, yes, they do have a black person in there every time, and the reason why
he dies,
but
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the reason why they put that black person there is not because black people have a sort of preference or favor in society. It's just because of the repercussions that come with it. It's
that's what I said. It could be because of the guilt factor.
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter what factor it is. The fact is that they are more prevalent than any others. That's what I said.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't matter why. The fact is that they're still there. And so the fact is that they, there's some guilt. There's a guilt factor there. So it's like, oh, you know what? I don't want to upset all of them. So let's put one individual, at least one in every single thing.
Yeah.
But so it doesn't matter whatever the reasoning is. It doesn't matter. The fact is that when it comes to that aspect, they're still above the other. That's all I'm saying.
Can I give a challenge real quick? I actually challenge you to look up any show in America, any show that's broadcasting today, and find one that doesn't have a Latin descent person in it.
I will.
Okay, but listen,
please do. I please do.
But,
all right.
But wait, my rebuttal to that point is you're right, but just because a black person is featured on television or a commercial or such does not mean that they're on a top level, because we said white, black, or other.
Why not a top level?
just because they're featured on the show, that doesn't mean they're pulling the strings. Like look at the entertainment industry. It's like look at music. All right, look at music, even radio. There's only if I recall, of the hundreds of radio stations, the top major radio stations broadcasting, only 7 stations are owned by black people. All right, there are a lot of black there are a lot of black personalities,
DJs.
but they're not owners of what it is.
But why is that though?
Because that's what society.
No, it's not what society is. It is what we as African Americans, and I'm talking about. Listen, as African Americans, black people, because just as earlier I was said I was known as an other. If you look at me, you're thinking I'm black, but because as black people don't fight for getting themselves another opportunity. And that means, although, when I applied for a job, I had to put something on it. No, it's just how bad do you want it? Are you going to open up the doors for yourself, or are you going to wait for somebody to give it to you?
I'm curious, how would you open the door for yourself?
How you open the door? You have to find a way.
I'm
I don't have an answer to that. You find a way. Just like what we do.
Always find a way.
You find a way. You find a way.
Okay.
Okay, as boss.
Let me ask you a question. As an African American man at appearance, do you feel as though there are some obstacles and there are some things that you will have to eventually come across a point where you'll have to sell out, or sell out is a bad word, but basically, bow down, not bow down. I'm sorry. Be chum chum, I guess. Be chum chum to a person that is not of African American descent, and able for you to get to the next level.
No, and I already know what you're thinking about. No,
not at all.
Not at all, because I won't allow it.
You know what? I have something to say, because, like, again, you made a point, and I agree with you, but again, I disagree with you, because once again, you're thinking on a smaller level.
No, I'm not. I'm not thinking on a smaller level.
I'm gonna tell you why I feel you're thinking on a smaller level. You said because black people, reason why black people don't have more ownership in America as far as like being on a corporate level in different environments is because we don't find a way to help ourselves, right? That's what you said, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, going back to what I said, where society is, when we talk about opportunities, Cupid asked you a question. He said, okay, now how do you find a way? You say you don't have an answer for that. Most black people do not, and I'm not talking about just African Americans. Most people who are black, as far as that category goes, they don't know how to find a way. So what they do, they find a way any way they can. So when they do get to a position, they want to hold on to it. They don't help each other up. You know the crab in the bucket theory? Black people do not help each other up.
But do you not know there's other cultures that hold each other up? It's just
you said other cultures hold each other up?
There's all other cultures that hold
like
each
who?
up.
Like who?
There's Caucasians, there's immigrants. You just don't see it. You just don't see it. It's just
Caucasian and
whites, Caucasian,
no.
and immigrants.
But you're not understanding what you just did.
Exactly. I'm glad you caught that.
He basically just made his point about the scale, the hierarchy. In a sense, you just said the Caucasians and the other immigrants, others help each other up. In the same sense, that's what.
When I say as they put themselves as crabs in the buckets.
Yeah, because
that's what I
right now you were talking about
that's what I said. The crabs in the buckets. I didn't say
that
help each other up. I said we are all crabs in the buckets. It's just a different level to it. That who actually, if you think about it percentage wise, you have people who do it. Like let's say Caucasians, they do it. But then there's the majority of them who actually fight for it.
I'm curious, which ones do you think help each other up more?
Which one I think help each other up more is Caucasians.
And then who?
Then it's the others.
And then who?
Then it's the blacks.
And any disagreement with that, Ms. Maru? With that scale?
To be honest with you, that question is just so hard to answer in opinion. Because it's like, who do you think helps each other more? I'm sorry, that's a very subjective question.
Do you have anything to say, Mr.?
Because I really feel like you guys are looking at it from. I understand. I do understand because
you being an average.
Let him finish.
Let him finish. What did I do?
Go ahead.
Let him finish.
I'm your brother.
Yes, you are my brother.
Go ahead. Let him
you are my brother.
Go ahead. Finish up.
No, what I'm saying is like I really feel like you guys are you guys have to look at the bigger scale of things. All right. You know, right now we live in South Florida. All right, the show is based in South Florida, but on a global scale, not even a global scale, but on a national scale, United States of America. When you look at opportunities, more than likely, when you go into even South Florida. All right, if you go to a job interview, more than likely, Maru, when you go and you get called in by your employer and you meet your hopeful future boss for the first time, it's either going to be Hispanic or white at the desk. But in South Florida, it's going to be Hispanic. Why? Because that's where the money is. You want to
well, because you have to see other demographics as well, though.
Exactly. It's about the demographic thing.
Did I not say that earlier?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why you guys are going away from that because that's what I said.
But that's
before.
what I stated.
Well, here's the thing, though. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about the question.
Can y'all let him finish?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They don't like me
It's
today.
like it's crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah, because you guys, like you said, you guys stated the demographics are where the opportunities are going to come from. But all right, listen, we have a restaurant, right? We say, okay, we're going to have a restaurant idea. All right. If you take $1 million and you put that into your restaurant, you're going to try to cater to a certain group of people. All right. If I'm going to take $1 million, I'm not going to create a soul food restaurant because I don't really feel realistically that's where my money's going to come from. Why? Because the poverty level for blacks, not just African Americans, but blacks is so low. I want people who have money. So, okay, I'm going to make something that's going to cater towards the Caucasians. But if I can't get the Caucasians, then what's the next logical option? And that's just answer that question. Anybody. If I'm gonna try
others.
yeah. But when we say others, what others?
Hispanics.
Here's the thing, though, because we're not thinking
why
about.
you attacking me?
Well, we're not thinking about Asian.
Don't attack me.
No.
It's just that in our community, there's not an abundance of Asians. But you go to California, you go to New York, they have like their own like freaking towns.
You're absolutely right. But then, like I said, we're not talking about that because we could talk about the Asians, but we're talking about on a national level, the United States of America. Where's the hierarchy? Because you can say
But
Asians,
here's the thing, though. But here's the thing where I feel like this is it's even like a faulty way of asking, or putting, the topic or subject, because you cannot just, what is the hierarchy? You have to take so many things into consideration because we have to think about if you're going to put, hold on. What hierarchy, how do you think it is, Cupid?
Oh, I think it's simple. I think it's as simple as can be. It's honestly it's Caucasian, other, Hispanic, even honestly Asian, then black.
So then what is other?
Other, I mean, that's why I said Asian. If you didn't consider that, it's always going to be other on top of black. Right now, no, I'm saying not always, but right now it's always going to be other.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Because I understand why you would say that. The thing is that
why do you understand how I would say that?
Because I can see how that is. But here's the reason, though, because you cannot just blame the society for that.
I didn't blame the society.
I know, but the thing is that in order for you to make that hierarchy that way, you have to realize that people put them sometimes, not all the time, but people put themselves in the position to be where they are at the moment. I don't care whether you've been a victim your whole life or not. You have to let go of whatever it is that's holding you back. And like Rude Boy said, you find a way. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm saying is that, even you guys agreed that, black people don't help out black people. Mm-hmm. You guys don't help each other out. So it's not just the fact that whether society sees it that way or not, but you guys you can even see it that way yourself. So it's like, it's not because, that's just the way society sees it. We're not, black people are not helping black people out.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Let her finish. Because she's actually going in. So I'm waiting.
Okay. But you just
patiently waiting.
Just hold that thought.
Patiently wait. Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Bro, she was going in.
I'm sorry. No, because you said something that contradicted yourself.
Exactly. That's why I was waiting.
I
What are you guys doing? It just seems like you're trying to set up a situation for
because
a downplay. When in reality, what it really is, I don't care if you say, global, nationwide, it's not only what we see it only as here. Like, I'm on top of myself. I'm not going by where I come from. But at the end of the day, a Native American black person from the U.S. who was born here does have a better opportunity than others. And others not only Hispanics, others is any other race except black or white.
Okay, I have one question. All right, and just yes or no. Are black people...
Ask my name. Ask my name. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, are black people... Right? I'm just talking about black people for now. Are black people a part of society, yes or no?
Of course.
So by that, how can you just like you just talk about demographics and everything, and Maru, what you just said, and I do love you, but I'm sorry, we're just not gonna see eye to eye right now. You just said that black people don't help each other out, and then you said you guys do this because this is your mentality, not society's mentality. But we are a part of society.
I agree, but I'm talking about the rest of the race. Okay, because I'm part of society as well, but I can
Yes.
talk about the way society views Hispanics, and I'm not excluding Hispanics from society, just like it's not excluding blacks from society. But when we're talking about that, we're talking about the difference of races, how they view the other races. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's fine. You're absolutely right about that. But again, when you say you take all these different things into consideration, which you're absolutely right. You can take locations. California, the West Coast, you have the Asians dominating that market. You can take South Florida, Hispanics dominating that market. The Midwest, and all these different things. When you put it all together on a national level, you take into consideration of education, poverty, language, the household. 2 parents in the home, 1 parent, adoption, all these different
Okay.
things. At the end of the day, when you say, okay, you look at the scale of the income level, who's on top and who's running the nation, black people are just not up there along the lines of Hispanics and Caucasians.
Okay,
And,
no,
and
I can side with that.
Do you guys have facts to absolutely show us this?
I can pull them up.
No, I'm asking.
You
I'm
can look
asking.
at the census
I'm asking.
reports for
but
like the past
But the reason
60
why I
years.
said that.
Can I say something?
No,
real quick?
I'm asking
Please
that
do.
because you do
Please
not.
do,
You do
because
not
he-
enlighten
no,
yourself.
you know what?
Like,
Please.
You don't have. You don't. Like the thing is that we're going off at this table as we're speaking
On opinion.
We're going off our opinion. We're not going off a fact. Like as we saw it. If you can tell me that you have saw it, then I will respect that.
I actually have.
Okay, then I can respect that. But if you're going off of just saying, "Oh well," that like we don't know that
I'm
for a
gonna say
fact.
this. I'm gonna say this.
You don't know what's globally
I'm gonna say this
wise.
with every topic. I don't know. Maybe the cast has not noticed yet. With every serious topic we talk about, the only time I'm gonna state my opinion firmly is if I looked up the numbers. Only if I looked up the numbers. When we literally every time. Where it comes to anything. I don't know if y'all noticed that when the doctor called, when we talk about women not being married, when we talk about anything, when Cupid brings up
matter
anything
if
in
Cupid-
serious, I'm just being honest.
But I'm telling
when
you
Cupid
too.
talks about serious topics,
Yeah.
I am not going to open my mouth about it if I haven't looked up the numbers beforehand.
Yeah, I
But-
actually thought this was common knowledge, but
Yeah, exactly.
No,
So, but let me say this. Big Boss actually sent a message in, and he wanted really, and I agree with him. I don't mean to bring this back up, but he basically wrote, "I'm so disgusted that we compared farm profits over the bloodshed of bloodshed America did to black people." I'm just saying.
you know what?
He just said that. I'm going to bring it up.
But that's
I'm
a
gonna
whole
bring it
other,
up.
first of all, that's
I'm
a
just
whole
saying-
other conversation.
No, it was just a brought up conversation.
It
He wanted me
doesn't
to read
twine
it.
in with this. First of
Actually,
all,
it did
no,
earlier. Earlier, it
I
did.
know, and I would have said it before. It did not twine in. And second of all, no matter what it is, anybody who stood up for anything
I
is
agree.
a big factor. Because at the end
I
of the day,
agree.
it starts from the above and it drops
I'm
down
sorry.
to each level.
I'm sorry.
I don't care.
I
And
disagree.
I'm
Every
I'm
person,
telling you
every
how I
person
feel.
in this
I
world
disagree.
has a purpose, and every purpose has something to serve.
That-
and so
that's
for you
great
to
and dandy.
for you to
That's-
diminish somebody else
That's good.
just
I didn't
because
diminish.
Yes, you did. Oh,
I
who,
basically said-
how
I
can you
basically
compare
said-
Martin Luther King to
once
somebody who
again,
just
yes,
left agriculture?
I didn't diminish. I didn't say what he did was nothing. Diminishing is saying, I'm saying it was nothing.
Correct.
But to enable to compare a man that fought for lives, for people
But
that
I wasn't
to people
comparing.
that-
I was not comparing.
No.
the act.
Okay,
I was
let's
not
go back to your
compar- no,
statement you
okay,
just made.
wait a
Let's go
minute.
back to your
I
statement
was
you just
not-
made.
Wait a minute.
You said you said the comparison. So I'm gonna say you said I diminished. I'm gonna go back to saying I did not diminish. Am I correct?
Okay, fine. You
Because
did not diminish.
because you said it.
But
Thank
I
you.
did
That's,
not.
that's all I wanted to hear. Thank you. Now go on.
Thank you for shutting me
Go
up.
on. Go
no,
on.
what I'm saying is I
Go
did
on.
not compare the act.
Mm-hmm.
I did not compare the act that one was greater than the other. All I said that was that Hispanics also have done some great things in the community, and for them to not be acknowledged, then I think that that's wrong. And there is nothing wrong with me being a Hispanic, being proud of my culture, and saying that we have done some things in the community, and then whether it's national or not, that is of value. And I did not for 1 second compare agriculture to bloodshed.
And let me say,
Just-
no,
just
stop,
for the
stop,
record.
stop. Wait, let me say this. I'm gonna say this. You didn't compare bloodshed to agriculture.
I didn't even bring it up.
But you actually did say his name, and say Martin Luther King, and say Rosa Parks, and say Malcolm X. So in the same
Because
sense, you
I'm
did
talking about
compare.
black people.
I'm sorry.
That's
but
why.
we can play it back.
You can
did
play it back
compare.
all you want. All I'm
I'm
saying,
just telling you,
I
did
know,
compare.
Okay, but I'm not talking about.
You
I'm
did
not talking
compare.
about the acts that were being done against the people. I was talking about the fact that
Yeah,
people.
the acts they
the-
did. I understand.
What they
You're
stood
saying-
up for,
you're
that they
saying-
actually stood up for a community, for a cause.
You're saying
that's
the
what
man
I'm talking
stood
about.
Up. You're saying the man stood up for his cause, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you being proud of being a Hispanic woman. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you brought them up in the same sentence in comparison. You brought him up. I honestly, I'm not gonna act like I know much about him. Gary Mitchell actually knows much about him,
All right.
but I will say you brought up Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks.
Well, if I offended
And
anybody,
Malcolm
I
X.
apologize.
I don't
That
think-
was
I'll
not
just say
my
that. Wait,
intention.
wait.
My intention is never, ever, ever to offend anybody, because when I speak, I try to be as objective as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And for a big boss to come here and to text or write and to say that he is disgusted that was said, to me that is offensive, because I would never offend another individual that way.
Wait.
That's all I'm saying.
But do you understand how that could have been seen though?
No,
You don't.
I don't.
Listen back to the show. Now go ahead.
Now,
Go ahead.
I think honestly, with that last question, when you say how it could be seen, it could be seen both ways. But that's with any subject.
No,
And
I
hold
didn't
on.
argue
But
it.
you didn't argue. You didn't tell her nothing, but allow for me to say something.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that you don't have to say something, but just like how it could be seen, I'm telling you how I can see it. And the thing is that at the end of the day, it could go both ways. I think at the end of the day, that statement is very ignorant.
How?
From boss.
Let me-
Hold on. And the reason why I say that, because I am seen as a black individual. But in real in growing up on my paperwork, it would say that I am other because I am from different races. But at the end of the day, for you to sit here and say, oh, well, because one person shoved over blood or something like that, doesn't make a factor. At the end of the day, everybody stood up. There's a reason why when he stopped eating, for a reason for other people to eat. Who knows? It stands for it. He's dying internally by not eating. So who makes it a point which one is a higher part than the other? At the end of the day, he stood up for something. Some people don't stand up for nothing.
So I'm curious. I'm just curious. So would you say that? I'm just curious. Many people may not like.
Give me this soft voice.
Many people may not like the comparison, but I'm curious in your choice. Phil, don't jump in anybody. I actually want to hear Rude Boy's opinion. Could you, or would you? If you can't, just say you can't. Would you be able to compare, just like Big Boss wrote, standing up for farm profiting in comparison to standing up for basically what he wrote, bloodshed of black Americans?
Yes,
You could be able to compare that.
by one thing.
Can you please say that? Just say the whole sentence. You can be able to compare what?
Yes, I can compare it to say that one is about farms and
profit.
a profit. Is it
But
profit?
that's the thing. It's not
hold on.
about profiting.
I know. I
Because
just want him to go
that's
ahead.
erroneous. It's
I
not
just
about
asked.
profiting. It's about having a
I'm
right.
just curious.
It's about having a right to even feed yourself. That's
Okay,
really what it's about.
Let's go back to
At
it.
the end of the
Then
day-
we'll compare that. Can you really compare? Having the right to feed yourself? Is
Not
that
feed
what it is?
yourself.
Not feed yourself to bloodshed of African Americans. Okay. And you, Miss Maru?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, go ahead, lover boy. Gary Mitchell, you had something to say.
The only thing I want to say is that anytime you make an opinion about a person or subject or whatever it is, I think it's best to be educated about whatever it is you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all know who Rosa Parks is and what she stood for or
Who's not
sat
being
for.
educated?
Nah, just
why-
let
why
him
can't-
finish. What's wrong with y'all
When
two?
I was talking, everybody jumped in.
I let you talk.
I didn't say nothing.
Nobody talked.
You not.
I didn't say a thing. I'm just saying, like, anytime we all know who Rosa Parks is, we all know who Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all these great African Americans. But as far as Cesar Chavez, I just happen to know about him because I've done a lot of reading in my lifetime. It wasn't just about profits; it was also about being able to work and being able to. He did a lot of things for that particular aspect of the community. So, you know, again, like, I'm not gonna go into the whole did she or did she not compare, or do certain people compare to each other. But anytime I feel like if you're gonna make a comment about anybody, not taking shots at anybody, then just at least try to know what it is you're commenting on before you get into it. Because, like, I can throw a Malcolm X and say, you know, he said by any means necessary, and then I can talk about Martin Luther King and all the peace walks, and you can say, I can't believe that we compared a man who talked about killing people to someone who, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
So that's all. That's all I have to say about that. That's it.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, man, I told y'all this is a serious topic. Anytime you bring up race, ethnicity, I mean, honestly, if you bring up the truth, that's my frame point. If you bring up the truth about whether each side, and the truth can be seen from either points of views, because the truth is basically pointed at each point of views. Ladies and gentlemen, you're here with us, Chasing Cupid and Poetry. I told you this subject is real. We'll be back with our final statement. Stay tuned and check us out at www.chasingcupidandpoetry.com, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Live in Effect. And tonight, we tried to make an indentation in society's thoughts. We'll be back.
I haven't always been a black woman. When I was a kid, I was a black girl with a white mom in a Mexican neighborhood, so all I wanted to be was a chola with black bands and white tee, prostrate hair with a flip. But no, I didn't speak Spanish. So school starts, and my white mom notices I'm too smart for the public education available in the barrio, so my white mom finds another job, not a better job, in the white neighborhood. So now I'm a black girl with a white mom in a white neighborhood, and all I wanted to be was white. Unbeknownst to me, I wasn't. Oh, I was a nigger, a black who talked about an Oreo mulatto, half breed, half a person. I was even half white, but never whole anything. So one day I'm coming home from my white school, riding my white bike, wearing blue jeans and white tee with a white ribbon in my hair, and I pass this white homeless woman who says, there goes little nigger girl riding her bike. Was she talking to me? Did she call me a nigger? So wet tears streamed down my black face, leaving white streaks on my streaked soul in the darkness of misunderstanding. And confusion remained even through year 18 when I ventured to attend Wesleyan Diversity University. I never found myself attracted to black men until I was surrounded by so many fine ones. Damn. But the black women wouldn't speak to me. So I easily tried to uncover why I immediately had so many enemies of the same color. Come to find out that light-skinned, long-haired California girl with Birkenstocks wouldn't understand a dark-skinned sister with dreadlocks. But unable to escape my dark confusion, I still sought clarification of being black and Caucasian. So sophomore year at the Red and Black University, I shunned diversity and lived in the all-black dorm bearing Malcolm's name. And at first, I was treated like a traitor. But I stuck it out and spent time remembering my black side. For it's never a question of not knowing. It's only a question of remembering. Remembering. And though I had battled with my black reflection that sought a wider direction, my introspection re-taught me what I had forgotten, that my bloodline has traveled through time to remind me that these are the hands that built the pyramids. And as I search for me in literature, poems, music, dance, theater, art, and people, I rediscovered Haiti, Africa, Germany, and Ireland. I refound my rhythms. I regrounded my creativity. I reread my history. And I remembered me. And though white streaks still occasionally stain this black face, this dark confusion is lifting her cloud, bringing clarity to this mixed colored girl is considered suicide when her rainbow is enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, Classic Element Event Planning presents Swirl, Sip, Savor, and Socialize in Miami. And we are a proud sponsor. It is a networking event geared to build positive connections that can foster innovative ideas, business opportunities, and/or investments, and personal relations. There will be local artists, singers, poets, authors, business professionals, and entrepreneurs, In Focus magazine, and much more. Guests from Palm Beach down to Miami-Dade will be present. So save the date, April 15, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Bar Melly's in North Miami, 725 Northeast 79th Street, Miami, Florida 33138. It is open to the public and there is no cover. Visit our website at www.chasingcupidandpoetry.com for more information. We look forward to meeting you all in person.
Chasing Cupid and Poetry, live in effect once again. Ladies and gentlemen, this topic is sensitive. Let me say this, man. This thing got people mean mugging in here. Ladies and gentlemen, you're here with us, Chasing Cupid and Poetry, Like, people don't want to look at each other in the eyes. Rude boy got the shades on, don't want to take them off. My dude looking at her phone, don't want to look at nobody in the eyes. Gary just smiling like, y'all crazy. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're here with us, Chasing Cupid and Poetry, live in effect. Once again, we're talking about white, black, and other. Man, we're going to finish it off with our final statements. We're going to go to Rude Boy. He was so passionate. Don't break the mic, bro, with your voice. But go ahead, take it away.
What I have for the people, the level, where the way everybody, I don't even know what to say. That's how passionate I am right now. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, I think that Caucasians do have the upper hand because by history, people state that Caucasians found land, which it could go all different angles of how you want to say who found land. I do think that others in certain aspects, in certain times, in certain areas in the world, does have an upper hand than African American blacks. But then vice versa, it could be blacks, natives who do have the upper hand on others known as immigrants. That could be from Asian, Haitian, Cuban, Spanish, whatever you want to call it. So it's all how you decipher it. What I say to everybody, no matter what race you are or what people think of you by your race, if you want to do something, you find yourself a way of doing it. You don't wait on nobody, you go after it. With the excuses that we make for us as people, and that's from any nationality, because we do have some lower class Caucasians, although we put them at the top of the pyramid. You have to find your way in. If you want to go after it, nobody's going to give you anything. And if you're going to sit back here and wait and say, well, this person has an upper hand on me, you just failed. That's the end of it. I'm done.
Rude Boy. Ooh, first time he tried to end with peace, love, and all that crap.
Ain't none of that right now. It's just blessings to everybody out there listening.
Oh, now blessings.
I always got blessings and love for everybody because I am an other.
All right, now.
I had to.
What?
I am an other.
Let's
because I'm a little bit of everybody.
Let's continue on.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, that's Rude Boy.
That was my first laugh all day today.
I'm glad you had it.
Let's go to Loverboy Gary Mitchell. What's your thoughts?
You know, my thing is, as far as my advice for everybody, or my recommendation for everyone, is just to whenever you look in the mirror, whenever you look at the outside world, just to know what you're up against. And I say that because we are competing against everyone for opportunities. You know, they say that this is the land of opportunity, land of the free, but it couldn't be any more incorrect. This is not the land of opportunity. This is not the land of the free, because we're all enslaved in different ways, and that's a whole nother subject that I can't really elaborate on. But for those of you who know what I'm talking about, you know, you go into a work atmosphere and you're competing against other people, and they're going to look and see how much value you contribute, which is why education is something that's very important. Anytime you go into a dating scene, you're competing. Your race does play a factor into it. It's just a multitude of situations where we find ourselves looking at ourselves on a scale, you know, where we say, okay, you know, we're white, so we can't. Maybe our chances of getting into the NBA are lower because we're not black, we're not 6'8" in all these situations. So you have to try to find ways to compensate. When you're black and you're going for a corporate America job for maybe a Microsoft or a Sony or whatever the scenario is, then you're thinking, okay, like, I went to Princeton, I did this and that, but there's this white guy from Harvard who probably might get it just because of that. That's just the way that it is, and that doesn't mean that you can't do anything. It just means that when you know that the way society sets the standards for who comes up, then you have to do everything you can to make sure that you're armed. And that means increasing your mental ability, in some cases your physical strength, spiritual, whatever it is that you need to do to improve yourself, then do so. Because if you go out there thinking that everything is just going to come to you based on who you are, then, you know, in some cases you might be right, but in a lot of cases you're going to be very wrong.
All right, that was the thoughts from Loverboy Gary Mitchell. Let's go to Miss Maru. What's up?
That's funny. That's funny that Gary talked about, you know, the whole education thing, because that's where I was going tonight with my final thoughts. I'm not gonna sit here and even entertain, from at least not for my final thoughts, entertain the notion of, you know, who's higher in the pyramid, what race or ethnicity or whatnot. To me, to be honest with you, to me that is a waste of time. What I will say though is education is very important in every aspect of your life, in, you know, whatever race you are in. And so the only thing I can say is that movements do not happen from one day to the next. And so just like, you know, with the civil rights movement, that was not from one year to the next. It took a long time for I guess for our generation to live the way that we live right now, which is a lot better than it was back during those times, or even before that, with the whole segregation, when you want to think about that. So yeah, we have come a long way, but it took a long time and it took years. And so in that way, we need to restructure the way that the education system. We have to think outside of the box and find to get out of that paradigm that is keeping people enslaved. And now, whether this is the land of the free or not, it doesn't matter, because reality is we enslave ourselves in our mind. That is the first place that you enslave yourself, is in your mind. And so if you have an educational background, teach that to your kids. And if you don't have that, then teach that for yourself. Get that for yourself so that you can teach it to your offspring, and their offspring can teach it to their offspring. And within, who knows, a decade or two or even 3, it doesn't matter. The goal is that everybody is going to be equal in everybody's eyes.
All right, that was the words from Miss Maru. Once again, this is Chase Cupid and Poetry. So many people passionate, but they ain't looking at nobody. Look at them. Look at nobody looking at nobody. Look at them. Once again, Chase Cupid and Poetry live in effect, man. Man, check us out at www.chasecupidpoetry.com. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are talking about white, black, and other. My closing statements will be this. And honestly, I don't hold back. I don't care what it is. The thing about these races and these ethnic groups is all of us, each one of us, see ourselves as victims. At the end of the day, you think things aren't equality for yourself, maybe because of your own situation. I've seen a Caucasian kid say that blacks have it all because of affirmative action. I've seen black people say white people and Hispanics have it all, and I've said it before too, because you have to speak Spanish, or you have to be that color, or if you're black, you're seen as a certain way. I've seen Hispanics say something as though blacks get it all and such, and whites say the same thing. But at the end of the day, I stay firm. I'll continuously say my scale does go from white, other, and then black. Whether anybody agrees with it or not, I say to those little kids, or those, you know what, better yet, it was funny. I spoke to somebody in Midtown that said something, and she's Hispanic, but she looks black. She said, okay, you can hang around all those Hispanic girls. This is exactly her words. You can hang around all those Hispanic girls, but they look white. You look black. So whatever they do, you can't do it. You have to make sure whatever you do better than them. And this is literally in Midtown Miami. This happened the other day. And it was funny to me because this falls on this subject. But I would continuously say to those little black kids, hey, drive, fight, do whatever you got to do. To those Caucasian kids, drive, fight, do whatever you got to do. Hispanic kids, drive, fight, do whatever you got to do. But I'm not going to front and say to you straight up that you black kids aren't already prone to a certain image. I'm not going to front and say that Hispanics aren't prone to a certain image. But I will basically say this. As a black man, I do know black kids are seen in a negative skew in my opinion, worse than other racial groups or ethnicity groups. Once again, if you don't disagree, if you disagree or don't disagree, feel free to check us out at www.chasingcupid and poetry. But at the end of the day, I would tell everybody, man, I'm not an advocate for education. Everybody should know me for that. I went to college. I got my education. I'm not an advocate of education. I think it's all about intelligence. Try to get as much intelligence as you can. Education, to me, puts you in a box, in my opinion. It's all about intelligence, your skills, your drive. So I would tell all those races, all those oppressed races, or all those races that aren't oppressed, intelligence is the most important thing. Education, to me, can go somewhere. But ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to us, Chasing Cupid and Poetry, live in effect. Feel free to check us out at www.chasingcupidandpoetry.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Check us out.